So this is, I actually surprise myself every time I get into the office every second week because I have my son. When I have my son, I put him to bed with my daughter at 7 ish, right? And during that time, I read to them until they fall asleep. And sometimes they don't fall asleep until it's like 15 minutes until I have to go stream. And then I realize that I need to prepare ahead of time. But it's like one of those things where you really get to test yourself and see if your skills are up to date. Because I usually run into the office and then it's like, all right, I need a thumbnail. Let's do the thumbnail and then let's just what are we gonna talk about? What are we gonna do? And then everything kind of happens at once. So I just got in here, literally. As I got in here, I managed, semi managed, to put everything up. Did not notify anyone that I was going live, but that is on me. And that will continue to happen quite a few times. But before I go into this, there was a few things I wanted to basically ask you about, kinda, and also clarify or update you on. Um, all right. So normally I have control. That's right. I gave it away. All right. So the plan I had was actually to start reading from a book every time I stream. I wanted to read a chapter or a few paragraphs of a book that meant that meant a lot to me. And the one I wanted to start with was The Alchemist because that was the one that I actually started my journey and all that. But as I gave it away and borrowed the other copy, and I'm pretty sure I have the third copy, but I'm not sure where it is. We'll do that next time when I have figured out how to get a hold of it. Now, before we get into this, I have sneaked a peek on the video that we're going to watch today, and I'm always amazed when I see what I was thinking back then, 3 years ago, how I was thinking. Because today I help people think differently. That's literally my job. My job description is to make people believe themselves, right? And it's a pretty fulfilling job. It's a pretty amazing job to have. But sometimes it gets it gets to be a lot. So this is actually a very good example of what I used to think because I was at that stage where I recognized myself in the people that I help, right? And because, well, I'm not going to go into all that stuff right now because there's a lot of things I want to share with you as to the things that I'm doing right now that is going to help some of you watching this. But I want to rather go into that when I actually start doing that more on a daily basis so that there is some congruity. All right. So before I start rambling, as I tend to do, I will jump into it. But remind me if I don't remember to watch what I wrote, that I have to talk about the unique ability that we all have. That's a teaser. Stick to the end to see what I mean by that. We all have a unique ability, and I want to see if you have tried something like this before. I'm going to mute that. But let's jump into it, and then let's talk about that afterwards. Good luck. Well, that's typical. That's my daughter, by the way. That was the first cameo of my daughter. All right.
Hi, I'm Sepp. I appreciate that you are willing to partake in this challenge for day 8. I have a perfect analogy for this. Today is a shitty day. We had a hurricane come through here, and my family is one of those few that actually has power right now. Well, power is one thing, but I'm also a fisherman without a boat. There's no internet. And what can an internet nomad do without internet? These are the times you really dread while waking up. Everything is working, but not the most important thing. Normally, people would just go on the phone and just share the internet. Well, there was that, but there's also, I think the storm has taken some cell phone towers with it, because I have Edge as my most powerful internet connection on the phone right now. And it's also only in parts of the house. So that is great. That is great. So today I have an idea. I will focus on the offline. I will maybe try to make an intro for this. If you saw an intro right now, you know what happened. And make the most out of it. I was about to say I can learn new stuff about the software, but I can't because I don't have internet. Oh Lord. Hey, maybe I can show you some footage of my breakfast. Yeah, let's do that. Here it is. Didn't that look awesome? Yeah, I know. Well, there's nothing more to do here other than just get to it. It's currently 6:10 a.m. Normally I'm hard at work right now. It's Saturday. Have a great one, dude. I wish you a very great day. And I hope that you do something awesome and that you are taking action if you want to change. Have a great day. And goodbye.
So I had music this time. There was actual music on the thing, which was cool. Actually, this didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to turn out. Like I just saw a few seconds and I was like, oh, he's bitching about the internet being the most important thing. Now I can definitely relate to the fact that when the internet blows off here, I realize how addicted I am to it, which is not a good feeling. But it's interesting to see how already there at day 8, I was doing the smoothies. I was trying to make the best out of it. I was still working hard on the goal. I hadn't met one of those obstacles yet. Because I remember very clearly that there were days where I just didn't want to do anything. There's actually a video just lasting a few seconds, just to be uploaded. An empty chair saying, still counts. So I had this mentality where, well, I don't have to put a lot of effort into it. And I think I still have that. I think I still have those cop-out moments where I don't want to put as much effort into something that I should. I think a lot of people have. I think that's just a normal way of being human. You know, we will take the path of least resistance. If there's something that will be challenging, we will tend to steer away. But the unique ability, thank you for reminding me, by the way. There is a test that I took before I got into the job that I'm currently in. Can't call it a job, the position that I'm in, the team that I'm working with. It's called the Colby Test. And what the Colby Test is basically a personality test. But it doesn't focus on personality. It doesn't focus on IQ. It focuses on the things behind it, if that makes sense. For those of you who knows what the Colby Test is, mine is 5275. Makes sense, right? Basically, it goes through 4 different categories. One of them being adaptability or follow through, and how I don't remember. I'm not going to pretend that I know any more than one follow through, but 2, because I need to involve. I need to develop that. It kind of gave me the whole picture of the gap that I need to fill. And I know the follow through, right? Sometimes I just don't follow through. And this stream is my persistence check. It's my way of actually doing what I said I was going to do for a long time. I'm in for the long haul, right? And as I'm developing the habit of going live twice a week, I also want to create content like videos and stuff, simply because I need to in my job. I need to be able to create stuff in tense situations where there's a lot of stress, even though I don't want to do it. So it's a great habit builder. And because of the whole follow through, I need to evolve my or develop my organization and all that stuff. So I've been doing that all day, just moving stuff from 10-year-old computer, going through all the files. It's insane. But the unique ability is kind of a add-on to the Colby test, where you will have 4 boxes. In the first box, you will add what you are uniquely skilled at. The thing that you love doing, you're doing it so well that you don't have to think about it. And when you're doing it, you're actually feeling rejuvenated by it. You're getting energy from it. And if you're doing it with other people, they will feel energized by being in the presence of you doing the thing. That's the unique thing, right? And then on the next box, you have what you're good at, but you don't necessarily have all the passion for it. So you're not going to go in and just, I want to do this right now. You know how to do it, and people come to you because you're good at it, but there's no passion. Now you have 2 things. You have the great unique ability that only you have. This is unique. You might not even know that you have it because it is unique. For you, it's normal. For other people, it's like magic. So it's like you, if you're trying to teach a 2-year-old how to tie their shoes, and you're just going through the motions, and you're like, I don't know, maybe you're just an adult. Maybe you're an adult tying your shoes, and you're doing it to impress the kid, flying through the knot. That's going to look like magic to the kid, right? So when you have something that you really love doing so much that you don't really notice it at all, it looks like magic to other people. For me, that is connecting the dots by listening to people, just seeing the bigger picture and how people think and navigate those thoughts, which is an interesting thing to be aware of, because now I can put that into the conversations that I have. But the second thing was all that graphic design, web development, all that stuff. I have a passion almost. No, I don't have a passion. I'm good at it, but I don't have a passion. And then you go into the things that you really don't like. You're trying, I'm going to steer clear, like the anxiety triggers. Like, I hate asking for money. I hate things with numbers for some reason. I'm going to change that, because hate is a strong word, and I'm not going to say that I'm just this. So I'm changing that. I actually created a personal finance calculator today. So it's a work in progress. But then the last one, you have that thing that you're just sucking at. You are so bad that whenever you do it, it gets worse. If you try to go onto a team with this skill, you're going to fuck up the team because you really don't know how to do these things. And for me, I would say that is just organizing right now. It's organizing, and it is tracking stuff, and it is being really analytical. It's being one of those rigid A4 kind of types. And that's not me, right? So when I get into those situations, I'm like, I need to get out of this. This is gonna suck. And then it ends up sucking. Probably because I always say to myself that it's gonna suck before I even get into it. So it's really interesting. And with that unique ability, I've been able to dive more into it. So I really highly encourage you and invite you to take the Colby test and then take that unique ability test afterwards, because it's going to clear so much up in your mind. It's amazing. But then, during the day, I have been thinking a lot about what do I say when I'm hosting these coaching sessions for a lot of people who's trying to make it to their dream, because they have paid a lot of money to the company, and now it's up to the coaches to get them there, right? Now, the whole concept is pretty simple. First, you map out who you want to serve. Who needs your skills? Who needs your knowledge, your value? You map that out. And then you map out how to say that to them in the most simplistic way possible. I am a freedom entrepreneur wanting to help build businesses for other freedom entrepreneurs. I help freedom seekers build online businesses, right? Something that people can resonate with, and they're like, I'm that. I want that. I'm going to get that. Really simple. I used to have, I teach quantum physics and epigenetics to ambitious freedom seekers wanting to create impact in the world and the universe by being a cosmocentric world. It got complicated, right? So the first thing is about that. But when they get into the first module, there's one thing that they have to transcend. There is this mindset of not being able to do it, which I think a lot of people have. I know when I was back there in that video we just saw, I did not have the mindset that I have now. I did not think that I could do anything. What I did back there, being an internet nomad, was creating graphic stuff. I was doing what I was good at, but I didn't have the passion. So I was serving people out of the necessity for money. Now I know how to get to that point to actually do something that you don't think that you can. All right? And I'm going to try to wrap this video up with that concept, something that I've been working on to try to communicate in the best clear way that I can. All right? So, when you start doing something that you do not know, any change is uncomfortable for your brain. Whether that is negative or positive, your brain will feel uncomfortable when you're doing something that breaks the status quo. When there's a pattern interrupt and all of a sudden you're trying to learn something new, or you're trying to do something that you've never done, or you're trying to do something that you really didn't think that you could do at all. That's going to feel uncomfortable. That is the growth zone. That is outside of the comfort zone. That is where you will find answers if you stick to it. Here's the thing. Last video, I think, or last stream, I mentioned the 4 layers of learning, right? There's a reason to that. I'm going to plant that seed in your head. First, you do not know that you do not know. You're unconsciously incompetent. You don't know that you have an issue. You don't know that there is an answer because there is no problem as far as you're concerned, right? But then you know that you don't know. All of a sudden you learned something that festered, that made you see that there was more. So in this case, it could be as easy as me saying that in order for you to make all the money in the world, you simply need to know copywriting, know who you serve, know how to communicate that in the best way, and then set up the system that facilitates that, which is probably a webinar and an email sequence and a payment gateway. That's it. In the broadest strokes possible, right? If you didn't know anything about that, then I would have planted a seed that you would have to consider a little bit, and then it's like, well, that is actually quite simple. I could actually do that. And then something starts to happen. Then you start to learn. You start to get interested in learning more. So you get to stage 3, which is conscious competence, where you know that you know, and you start to learn and more and grow and develop, and you get to this place where you actually like what you're doing, right? As you're doing that more and more and more and more, you get to that 4th stage, which is just natural, where it comes as second nature to you because you have done it so much that it's just a habit. And the habit is the key word here. You're unconsciously competent in what you're doing. That's when you are not thinking about what you're doing. The body is just doing whatever it does, and you can basically zone out. Is when you go to the work so many times that you just go on autopilot. You can shut off your brain, right? You can tie your shoes while talking to someone. You can drive and text, which is not a good idea, but you can probably do that because you've driven so many times that your body is just doing the things. You don't have to think about it. You're wiping your ass in the same way. You're wiping your off after a shower in the same way. You're brushing your teeth in the same way. All those things. It started as a software and it became a hardware. You started at one thing and then you repeated that thing so many times that it just became a part of you. That's important. It went from software to become a hardware. Let's talk about those 2 concepts that I love talking about because those are the key to success in anything. All right? Neurogenesis, neuroplasticity. Neurogenesis being the act of actually creating new neurons in your brain, which will happen when you learn something. and that your brain is incapable of going back. You're biologically incapable of reverting to something that you were before. You're always going to be in the stage that is in growth. Change is the only constant, right? So when you learn something, it's always going to be in your brain, but it depends on how much you actually use it. So that's when the habit comes in. You know it, it's there, it's uncomfortable because you just did something that was not the status quo, and then you start learning more. And all of a sudden, you get to a place where it's not that painful anymore because now it's more of a habit, but you're still having to work on it. And all of a sudden, you get better and better and better. And then you see that you're actually able to do it. And then it's neuroplasticity, that you can change old habits to new ones. You can reprogram your mind. You can put in the software and gain the hardware. This, when I teach this to people, normally, if they have never heard of these things before, their eyes widen up. And especially when they are paid like $5,000 to be there and listen to that stuff, their eyes will widen up and they will see that, holy shit, there's actually something to this. And then they will say, well, I can't do this because there's a lot of people doing this already. I'm not special. Well, you are. You have unique experiences, unique memories, unique things that will make up your thought patterns, making you communicate in a special way that is unique to you. There is nobody else like you. You can tell me all you want that a lot of people are doing the exact same thing as you, but if you're selling yourself, there is nobody doing what you're doing on planet Earth. All right? So that's one thing. You are unique. If people are serving the same thing, it all depends on the person doing it. People will resonate with you if you have something that will resonate with them. If you say something that is from your story that really takes them from one place to another, that makes them have the epiphany bridge, where like, holy shit, if he can do that, then I can do that, right? You start to give them examples as to how people went from nothing to something and how they went from nothing to something. For me, that was in 2018. That was on the airport as I was delivering my daughter. That was when I had so much pain watching my family walk away from me, knowing that I could not see them again for a long time, if I would even see them again ever, because they were deported. I had no money. I had no idea how to get them back. That pain is crucial. That pain is something that I will never experience again. So I will do anything in my power to get away from that pain. We do two things in life. We move away from pain, or we move towards pleasure. I had to move away from pain and towards pleasure in the way that I could get them back, which happened. The pain was too great. The drive that came from that pain took me through hell and back, and I could have done whatever. Again and again and again and again, wouldn't matter. That drive will always keep me going. Which means that for you to see the possibilities in you transforming your life to the utmost top reaches of possibilities, then you need to find that drive. You need to find that why. That thing that will wake you up. That thing that will drive you through hell. That thing that will remind you of who you are and then just push you to whatever it is that you set your mind to do. The why. After you know about the whole neuroplasticity, neurogenesis, and all that stuff, the why is the most important thing of all. It will give you a reason to study things that you don't want to study. It will give you a reason to try to figure out things that is uncomfortable. You will know that it is a process, that everyone starts in a growth phase, and then uncomfortable as it may be, you know that it will pass, and then it will go back to the next phase, and the next phase, and the next phase. It's like that rubber band. If you just try to go like this, you're going to fuck up the rubber band or it's going to snap back at you. But if you go incrementally, you can condition the rubber band to actually follow. And then you will just keep following and raising your frequency with that growth. I hope it makes sense. Mark Newman, my man, how you doing? I just had this review of the 100-day challenge, and to be honest, I thought it was going to be a lot bigger change in the video compared to what I have now, and there is, of course, but it started off kind of like I was bitching and moaning, as I was, because the internet was gone, and I still feel pain when I lose the internet, but I was still doing the thing, which prompted me to kind of think of, why am I doing the thing? Because back then, I still hadn't had my why. I still hadn't felt the pain. The pain was still to be coming my way, right? I think it was still probably 20 days from actually feeling that pain, even more maybe. So it's interesting to see how much of your worldview, your thought patterns, your way of everything changes with one event in your life. And Mark, you know this better than anyone. When you have something that completely changed everything, you need to find a way to adapt. And then you do the best you can with what you have, and you become what you are, what your authentic self was meant to be, because you have no choice. But many people will just figure out that, it's better just to follow the crowd. Right now, I'm actually having a conversation with a client of mine that is out of her mind. Like, she is, what is that word I'm trying to say in English? She's really having a bad time because the closest people to her is following the crowd, which is not a good thing when you're thinking about the situation in the world right now. So it's interesting to see how much it takes, or how little it takes, for someone to just take opinions of other people and put them in their head as their own, and then just change their entire life because of that one opinion and their need to be like everyone else. It's insane. Now, this is a very special case and I can't talk about it, but there are so many of these cases where people will just do things, implement actions that will completely change their life simply because they see that as the easiest way out. As I mentioned before, the path of least resistance. It's scary. It's sad. It's quite depressing, actually. But that's the world we live in. And I think it's our job then to communicate what the possibilities are in our world right now. Because they are many. And they are insane. And there is no limit to what we can create if we have that awareness. If we know that we are infinite beings capable of creating whatever we have in our minds, there is no limit at all. And just this past week, as I say every week, I see the results of that. I see the proof of that mindset, of that way of being, of that worldview, that cosmocentric worldview, if you want to go for that. But it's insane, the miracles that you can make happen consciously. And just today, I saw a video just came in front of me as I was checking a message. A video about how words are magic. How words is the most magical thing that we have. And I would agree. Because you are now listening to my thoughts. This is literally telepathy, right? You can listen to my thoughts and you can see my emotions, and I can install an emotion in you with the energy that I'm producing with my thoughts, my words, and my emotions, which is insane. So we went through a lot of symbolism, like words, take the S and put it in front of it. It's actually sword, all those weird things that people do. But words are magic. The way that we communicate is magic. We can create insane change on a global scale just with our tongue and our throat. And some people have noticed this, and some people are using this for ill-gotten means or for bad, right? While others are trying to incite something positive in the world. Elicit something. Elicit something positive. Create a positive change. And the more I study these things, the more fascinated I get. Because I've seen magic. And the more I get into it, the more of these signs just get popped in my head. And it's amazing. But I have now run out for 30 minutes, which was longer than I intended. And I have to go and get some sleep because for some reason, I'm really tired. But thank you for being here. Thank you for following the channel. Thank you for supporting the review of the 100-day challenge. And if you have anything that you want to ask, anything that you want to have talked about on the stream, reach out, send an email, tor@thefmlproject.com, or whatever. Like I'm all over the internet, all over the internet. It's really easy to find me. It's really easy to reach out, and I'm honored every time I speak to one of you fantastic people. So until next time, have a fantastic day and take care of your freaking family. Peace.